Oh yeah, man. Street dances all over the world. Yeah, yeah. You know what you gotta do. Word. Yeah. Yeah, let's go, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, come on. Oh yeah. The turntable spins, using new ability, agility that wins. And then your crew got burned. To be the master of the craft, you gotta practice to learn, kid. The street dancer breaks with 1990s and the 80s paved the way for the days. B-boys emulating the greats like 43s, crazy legs, dynamic breakers with shake. Let's dance to the beat of the drummer that's funky. Way before the beat, this was bugging on Brass Monkey. Hip hop, new cruises, Foxy Enchilada. In the boxy DJing was Africa Bambaataa. Brought back to the Bronx, Kool Herc the innovator. DJing sound systems, toasting in Jamaica. Got boasting, the host with the most, the money maker. Now I'm moving bricks, but I started out as a breaker. The turntable spins, brothers cautious, listening to Bob James Nautilus, and of course James Brown, funky drummer the sound in the summer, before you saw the hustler in the Hummer. Yeah, and a few years later Melly Mel changed up his gear and switched the game up. The gangs of New York ceased banging for beat. Once the whole 5 girls break dancing up in the street. Yeah, the turntable spins, the DJ and MC coincide like twins. The crowd grins cause they know what they came to hear. It's important what you wear, uniform in the fresh gear. Hip hop was visible and heard by many. A backdrop or a mural in the park with graffiti. Dancers, rappers, original, not phony men. Windbreaker jackets, knee pads on linoleum.
Dance, make it move, keep it poppin', keep it locked down. And first position when they groove, DJ spin it round. And it's your time to shine. All the eyes on you, street dance all over the world.
Hey, yo, you catch a wreck on the floor. Hey, yo, you catch a wreck on the floor. Hey, yo, you catch a wreck on the floor. Hey, yo, you catch a wreck on the floor. Hey, yo, you catch a wreck on the floor. Hey, yo, you catch a wreck on the floor. Hey, yo, you catch a wreck on the floor. Hey, yo, you catch a wreck on the floor.
Make it move, keep it poppin', keep it locked down. And first position when they groove, DJ spin it round. And it's your time to shine. All the eyes on you, street dance all over the world.
Step 1. Register. Go to www.jobs180.com and click Register Now. In choosing your resume link, use your full name so that it looks professional and is easy to recall by potential employers, and fill out the other information needed.
After you register, go to your email address and validate your jobs180.com account to activate.
Step 2. Complete your resume link. When creating your resume link, make sure to complete your personal and contact information, your profile picture, and your cover photo. You can also put your objectives, work options, work experience, certifications, achievements, skills and languages, references, and portfolio. Your resume link also features different themes and a cover photo. Step 3. Submit your resume link. If you're qualified, click Submit Resume link, or you can even share the job vacancy with your friends. can also apply for jobs outside jobs180.com by sending your resume link through any platform. Register, complete, submit your resume link. So what are you waiting for? Turn your life around by creating your own resume link and applying for your dream job.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Jobs180.com's Marketing Real Life. What is next after school? So today's session is in partnership with Ernst and Young Global Services Philippines and Optum Global Solutions. Before we start, may we please invite everybody for a short prayer?
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above the heavenly host. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
Okay, so welcome again. I'm Shari from Academic Linkages. We hope that everybody is excited to learn new things today. So if you haven't done yet, please like and share these to your friends as well. And please comment your name and school and type in your questions later so we can answer them after the talk. So this project is launched to help people learn about job hunting, applications, career, productivity, especially in the time of pandemic. So ang theme natin ngayon ay what is next after school? So we asked managers to tell us about their own experiences when they were themselves a fresh grad. Ano nga ba yung naging challenges nila? Ano nga ba yung naging success stories nila? And paano ba nila tayo matutulungan, especially sa mga batch 2020? Okay, woohoo, congratulations! Okay, so here is our schedule for today. So first topic, we will be discussing after graduation checklist. So Sir Robert will be discussing this. He's from jobs180.com. For the second topic, we will be joined by Ernst and Young Philippines, and they will be discussing rerouting your career plan. So this, I think, is very helpful, especially sa mga fresh grads na na-force i-pause yung career goals nila. So tandaan natin na hindi completely na-derail yung pangarap natin. May mga bagay lang talaga na mas importante ngayon. At yun yung manatiling healthy, makapag-contribute sa community natin in the best way we know how, and as we help each other. So habang tayo ay nakapause, we will hear from Ernst and Young what we can do to take advantage of this pause. For our third topic, we will be joined by Optum, and they will be discussing motivation and productivity tips. So patagal na patagal, gusto nating maging productive. So awat na muna sa kaka-Netflix, sa kaka-Mobile Legends, so minsan masarap din sa feeling yung may mga nakaka-accomplish tayo. So Optum will be helping us with that. Paano nga ba mamomotivate at paano ba magiging productive? Okay, so shout out sa lahat ng nandito na. So please enter your school and names doon sa ating comment box para mabasa natin siya later. I would like to thank the following schools for inviting their students. So we have students who registered from Adamson University, from Angeles University, Ateneo de Naga, Bicol State College of Applied Sciences and Technology. We have people from Bulacan State University, CAVSU, Central Philippine University, Dalabusaan ng Lungsod ng San Pablo, City University of Pasay. Okay, so later babasahin natin yung lahat, okay? So for now, we will go to our first speaker. Okay. Sir Robert, andyan ka na ba? Yan. So I will introduce Sir Robert. So he could
Sige, go ahead.
Kayo. Hi, sir. Yan. Sir,
Sige, tuloy mo yung pag-introduce sa akin para matuwa ako.
Okay. Sir, he graduated with 2 degrees from Ateneo de Manila University, AB Social Science and AB Disciplinary Studies. He has previously worked in the Department of Education, CHED, and in an NGO. So prior to Jobs 180, he last worked as an HR specialist. So si Sir Robert, mahaba yung kanyang work experience, no? From government to NGO to being an HR specialist in a private company. Okay. So Sir Robert,
Yes.
bilang itong webinar natin ay what's next after school. Tatanungin din kita, what is your
Sige.
funniest, most memorable story when you were first starting out in the industry? Can you share with us?
Yes, most memorable. Actually, hindi to funny nung nangyari sa akin. Pero kapag babalikan ko, I guess funny na siya. And I guess para mapakita ko na rin sa talk ko na ang mga wag niyong gawin, wag niyong gayahin tong ginawa ko, na kung ano-anong nilagay ko sa resume ko na nung tinanong ako, hindi ko na masagot ng maayos. So, again, hiyang-hiya ako sa nangyaring yon. Ayoko na magpakita sa kanila ever. Wag sanang mangyari sa viewers natin yon. Kaya sa paglagay niyo ng resume, kahit na sabihin natin hindi niyo masyado naaalala na pag-usapan sa inyong seminar, yun ang nilagay ko. Tapos kinamusta ako, tapos ngiti-ngiti lang ako. So, yun. Medyo funny siya pag binalikan, pero talagang hindi siya funny nung nangyari sa akin. So,
Okay.
sige.
Okay, so Sir Robert, ikikwento niya sa atin kung ano ba yung mga bagay na pwede nating maiwasan or i-prepare natin ngayong tapos na tayo graduate. Okay? So,
Yep.
sir, if you're ready, you have 20 minutes to present your topic and I will be back for question and answer.
Okay, sure. Testing ko lang share screen ko, ah.
Sure. Oh, sige.
And okay, kita nyo?
Yan, it's loading. Ayan.
Teka lang, full screen
Full
ko
screen
lang.
na lang ako.
Okay, go.
Yeah.
Okay na ka?
Thank you, sir. See you later. 20 minutes.
Thank you, Shari. Thank you very much. So, hello again to our viewers. As mentioned, ang aking topic ay kung anong kailangan meron kayo, kailangan nyong gawin after nyo graduate. So, sabi dito, after graduation checklist, what you need before you apply for jobs. So, ito yung magiging flow ng aking talk. First, yung basic needs. Ano ba talagang kailangan bago ka maka-apply? Next, supporting documents. Sabihin natin na lagay mo sa resume mo, ito yung ginawa mo, kailangan mo pakitaan na proof na talagang totoo yung mga pinaglalagay mo. Legal documents, ito ay kailangan mo even after ng first job mo, gagamitin mo siya after so long, even for the rest of your life. Pwede nating sabihin gagamitin nyo itong legal documents na to. Whether for your job or for yourselves. Last, good to have. I guess hindi naman kailangan na meron kayo nito, pero it would of course be very helpful pag meron. Sige. So first need na pinaka-basic ay inyong resume. So, kung wala kayong resume, hindi kayo makaka-apply. Minsan sabihin natin na meron tayong friend, ni-recommend tayo, kahit na sabihin natin ni-recommend, hinihingan pa rin ng resume. Sabihin na, hey, meron akong kakilala dito, baka pwede sa inyo. Sasabihin, o sige, sabihin nyo, mag-send sa akin ng resume. Doon din, pag mag-a-apply kayo online sa mga job sites tulad ng Jobs 180, of course, kailangan nyo ng resume. Pati kung diretso sa company na walang job site. So, you need the resume. And of course, dito sa Jobs 180, we have this what we call the resume link. Ito ay personalized URL for your resumes. So, you can view online anytime. So, you click the link, diretso siya sa resume nyo. Hindi ko na masyado discuss lahat ng benefits of this. You could go to our site, our Facebook page. Yun, mas lalong mapapakita kung anong benefits of using this. Ngayon, ang dadaanan ko lang kung anong dapat laman ng resume nyo. Of course, kapag nag-sign up kayo sa Jobs 180, gagawa kayong account, dapat nandito yung pinaka-basic info nyo, need an email address. No email address, di kayo makakagawa. And then meron dito work options, piliin nyo lang yes or no kung ano mag-a-apply sa inyo. And then sa ilalim, work experiences. Gusto ko highlight dito sa work experiences na hindi kailangan directly related yung previous work nyo sa work na gusto nyo in the future. Yung iba sinasabi, ay, hindi ko nalalagay itong work ko before dahil hindi naman related sa kung anong gusto ko gawin. Di naman related sa course ko. Ganun. No, lagay nyo pa rin kasi what does it say? Mapapakita pa rin sa future employer, sa HR na, well, you are responsible enough to keep a job. Lalo na ngayon, hindi natin masasabi na lahat ng available jobs ay swak na swak sa ating course. We need to adjust. Ang masasabi ko ay very helpful and useful pa rin itong experience na to whether or not bumalik kayo sa line of work na inisip nyo take in the first hand. Sige. Next, education. So, yan yung school. Seminar sa baba, yan yung binanggit ko. Yung binanggit kong funny but not really funny for me. Seminars, lalagay mo yung in-attended mong seminar. Tapos, pwede nyo kasi lagay dyan. Basically, wala namang magsasabi sa inyo kung anong hindi nyo pwede ilagay. Wala namang kaming control doon. So, kayo na bahala. Ang ilalagay nyo dyan, make sure na naaalala nyo yung pinag-uusapan, talagang nandun kayo, you paid attention. Kasi minsan, yun nga, kinakamusta kayo, oy, nabalitaan ko, pumunta ka dito sa evolution of advertising in the 20th century. Anong masasabi mo about this? Yan. So, nakakahiya, okay, matulad sa akin na hindi ko alam kung anong sasabihin ko doon. Next, certifications, different from certificates. Sometimes merong confusion when it comes to this. Certificate, actual certificate, whether hard copy or scanned copy, online, whatever. Certifications binibigay sa inyo usually after you pass an examination. Kailangan nyo kayo ma-certify. Like yung mga teachers, meron kailangan certified kayo by passing the licensure exam for teachers. Yan. Papasok ang inyong certification. Next, achievements. What we say here is that hindi dapat siya malimit sa kung anong ginawa mo sa school. This is important kasi, well, you graduated na and you may not be sure kung ano pang pwede nyo lagay. Baka sabihin nyo, ay, graduate na ako, wala na ako madadagdag dito. No, kasi ang achievements pwede nyo lagay even after or even outside school. So, sabi kasi dito, student leader of the year, cum laude. So, hindi lang siya grades, pwede sa student org, pero pwede rin outside, yung mga community work, those are achievements. Sabi nga ni Shari kanina, that's one thing we could do to help our community. Pwede nyo siya ilagay as an achievement. So, skills and languages, ito pa ang one more way you could make use of your time now. Habang naghahanap mong work, you could add to your skills. So, makikita nyo dito sample ng skills. Similarly, yung iba kasi sinasabi, itong skill na to hindi related sa work at course na gusto ko, ay hindi ko na lang ilalagay ito. Hindi. Kasi magdadagdagan yung knowledge nyo magsa-set apart kayo dun sa iba by having different skills. Okay, dun tayo sa obvious na scenario. Sabihin natin na graduate ka ng culinary course. Tapos nilagay mo sa skill mo ay cooking. So, para graduate ka, lahat naman ina-assume, lahat ng graduate ng ganong course ay meron na nun. So, paano ka malilitaw sa lahat ng culinary? Lagay mo ibang skills mo. Yan, tingnan natin. Merong Photoshop, videography, photo editing. Baka sabihin mo, hindi naman yan gagamitin. What does that say about you? Well, pwede sabihin na, oh, this person is creative. We can make use of yung creative skills niya later on. So yun, kasi we need to stand out sa ating pag-a-apply. And of course, itong resume link, naka-layout na to, it's one good way para mag-stand out nga kayo sa iba. References, okay, so ito ang i-contact ni HR kapag sabi natin na nag-apply ka kay HR sa isang company si HR after ng interview or even before, ko-contact to mga nilagay nyo as reference. Sabihin nila, ay sige, contact ko to. Hello, sabi ni ganto ganyan na teacher kanya before, he is applying to us. Sabi niya ganto, kamusta ba ang kanyang work ethic, so on so forth. So kapag lagay ng reference, siguraduhin nyo lang na kilala kayo ng inyong reference or even na aalala kayo, pwede namang kilala kayo, pero nalimutan na kayo. Well, we can't blame some of our professors, ang dami nilang naging students, sometimes years ago pa, tapos nilagay mo as reference. Ayaw naman natin na kapag tanong ni HR, sabihin na hindi tayo kilala. Sayang lang, nawalan tayo ng reference. So, at the very least, lapitan nyo ang inyong reference. Usually kayo as fresh grads, pwede dito ang inyong professors, yung thesis advisor, tapos yung iba nag-part-time work, OJT, yun ang mga okay as reference. I-note nyo sa kanila na paalam kayo na lagay sila as part of your references. Kasi well, baka bigla rin sila i-contact, sign of respect na rin, para hindi sila mabigla. Okay, next. This is the portfolio section. This is one way na lumilitaw again yung resume link from others. Again, bibigay nyo lang yung link. Pag-click ng link, makikita lahat ng info. But included here as well yung portfolio. Sa portfolio section, you can attach images, documents, sige, and videos, links to videos. Babalikan ko to kasi mas malinaw ang purpose nito once we go to yung supporting documents, legal documents side. So you have a resume link, nandun na lahat ng experience nyo, lahat ng background nyo. So magsasubmit kayo ng resume link. Sabihin natin na hindi through jobs180.com, hindi through our job site. You could pass instead your link, like itong sample sa gilid, yan. Standard message, pinapasa yung link, hindi na kailangan mag-attach ng anything. Pag-click ng link, diretso na sa inyong resume. Usually, we call this parang na letter of intent. Letter of intent, tingnan nyo sa gilid. I would like to apply for this position. Here's my link. Sometimes, pwede pa kayong magdagdag. Sabi dito, you could use a rough template. Pero siguraduhin nyo na yung position at company na nilalagay nyo ay updated. Mahahalata ni company na halimbawa ang ina-applyan mo ay HR, tapos nakita dito ay applying for accounting assistant. Baka inisip niya nagkamali ng submission mo, so baka hindi niya i-process ng maayos. Baka isipin niya ay hindi hindi ganun ka-organized itong applicant ko. So make sure lang na ma-update mo siya. And then check for typos, grammatical errors, and insert your resume link. Doon sa sinabi kong using a rough template, pwede kasing yung paglagay nyo sa inyong letter of intent ay mas may weight, mas connected to the position you are applying for. For example, yung na-applyan nyo ay something to do with communication, so pwede nyo ilagay na yung experience mo with communicating with people from different background, kanya, makaka-add yun. Yung basic na content yun. Pwede nyo ilagay, pwede nyo i-tweak, konti-konti. So, yun, pwede nyo ilagay sa email nyo once pili nyo ilagay ay yung resume link, or I guess pwede nyo rin naman na i-update yung pinaka-basic attached sa portfolio section. So, yun yung pinaka-basic. Bago kayo maka-apply, kailangan nyo ng resume link. At kapag hindi diretso sa job site, mag-a-apply, hindi diretso sa jobs180.com, kailangan nyo ng letter of intent usually. Sige, supporting documents. Na-mention ko kanina na ito ay mga documents na support yung mga pinaglalagay nyo sa resume nyo. So, like this, transcript of records. Siyempre, dito makikita yung grades nyo. Sinusuport nitong document na to na unang-una pumasok ka nga sa school. Tapos makikita yung grades. Baka sabi mo sa resume link mo, I graduate ako ng cum laude. Lalagay ko sa achievements ko, cum laude ako. Tapos pagtingin ng HR sa transcript of records, hindi ka naman abot dun sa limit na grade point average para makonsider ka as cum laude. So, yun, makikita talaga ni HR kung hindi ganun ka-accurate ang inyong resume through the supporting documents. So, yung supporting documents, pasa nyo, like transcript of records, makikita nila yung academic performance. Sometimes, hindi rin siya nagsusupport ng content sa resume link mismo, but also parang sinusupport kung anong sinasabi mo about you, anong gusto mong masabi about yourself. Sabihin natin you are hardworking, you are studious. So, ano ang magsusupport doon sa mga sinasabi mo? Transcript of records. So, these are supporting documents that you could use. Sa diploma, of course, para proof na graduate kayo. And then sa dulo, professional licenses. Tulad ng sabi ko kanina ay sa certifications, meron kasing para i-certify mo na na-receive mo yung certification na yon. Usually may ID, pero for example sa akin, meron akong civil service eligibility, hindi ko nakuha yung ID ko, hindi ko nakuha yung other document saying na nakuha ko yung certification. I instead got yung formal letter of acceptance. So sometimes yung companies would say na, okay, pwede na to. It's clear naman na it's an official document. But of course, better kapag meron kayo ng mga ID and such. So ito ang inyong supporting document. Next, legal documents. Ano itong mga to? You might be aware of this, yung mga to. So for government benefits, yung parati sinasabi na PhilHealth, SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth from the name itself, health. So sa basically sometimes ang nakamadaling explanation dyan ay kapag ay medical fees, hospital fees, matutulungan, mababawasan siya. SSS, dito ang mga pension, dyan mag-end up. Pag-ibig, loans para sa household, usually. Of course, itong sinasabi ko ngayon, parang sinisimplify ko ng todo. So you could research about this on your own. Actually, maraming hindi aware dito or rather hindi rin aware kung paano siya i-maximize yung benefits na nakukuha nyo from having these. So may mga number yan, mag-a-apply kayo, pipila lang kayo ng konti, tapos makukuha nyo siya. Kailangan siya, usually hinihingi rin siya ng HR kasi sila ay tumutulong sa pag-file nitong mga to after you give their number. But for example, kung freelance ka, freelance yung work mo, you have to do this on your own, lalo na yung sa number, ito dito yung tax natin. Again, I won't go through yung tax natin, you could research about it on your own. Basta, usually, you have to have tong numbers na to, PhilHealth, SSS, Pag-ibig, and TIN. So, important lahat ng yon. Next, you have to show that you are fit to work. So, merong NBI or police clearance. You have to show na wala kayong criminal record. Siyempre, si HR ayaw naman mag-hire na may criminal record ng kanilang applicant. So, kailangan nyo kumuha nito. Usually, it would take, sometimes yung one day lang siya. Within one day, makukuha nyo yung NBI police clearance. Pero you might have heard sinasabi na may hit kayo. So, ibig sabihin, yung name nyo may similar na someone na may hit na hindi completely cleared. So, it might take you a few days after. Pero, yun nga, you just have to pass this. And then sa baba, health clearance documents. Dito papasok yung medical certificate. Kailangan nyo rin yung medical test. Tapos yung doctor, kailangan i-confirm na fit to work ka. This time, yung iba, mas strict regarding this. Iba, gusto rin na may x-ray. Example, yung mga kailangan abroad, mas gusto nilang may x-ray para makita rin yung lungs inside for other complications. So, depende sa ina-applyan nyo, dito papasok yung documents that would show that you are fit to work. Last, yung identification. Government-issued IDs. Kapag halimbawa kailangan sa work, like if you are working abroad, you need proof na meron kayong passport, visa. So that's very important. But also, take note na some companies would ask for more than one identification ID card, more than one. And sometimes hindi pa ready yung applicant with it. Kailangan pa asikasuhin after. So it's good to have more than one. Hindi lang passport and wala ka na ID sa iba. So pwede yung mga driver's license, yung mga SSS PhilHealth, meron din yung cards, ID cards. So tinatanggap din yan. So before or even after applying, make sure na meron na kayo agad nitong mga to. Para hindi mo patagal ang processing ng work nyo. Halimbawa ako sa dati kong job ay ready na for hiring pero hindi pa kompleto ang aking documents. So sayang lang ng a week or two that I should have been working na hindi ko nagamit, hindi ako nakapag-work dahil lang hindi ako ready. If ready na ako beforehand, sana naka-work na ako. So, na-mention ka kanina itong portfolio section. Makikita nyo dito sa sample natin, in-attach niya itong mga documents na sinabi ko kanina. Nandito yung supporting document like yung diploma, far right ko. And then, sa ilalim, di lang kita ng buo. That's the transcript of records. And then, makikita mo yung NBI police clearance, birth certificate. It is up to you kung anong gusto nyo i-upload dito sa portfolio section nyo. Again, napadali na buhay nyo, isang click lang sa link nyo, diretso kayo sa resume nyo, makikita nyo sa ilalim ang portfolio section. So, nandito na lahat para hindi na kayo back and forth ni HR. Papasa kayo ng resume, cover letter, re-reply sa'yo, can you pass a copy of your grades or diploma? Pasa ka, and then babalik sa'yo, and then pasa ka naman ng NBI. So, meron na, I've experienced that before, back and forth. Sometimes di pa nakaka-reply agad sa email. So, 1-2 days, sayang din. So, if na-upload niyo lahat sa portfolio section, then mapapadali ang buhay niyo at buhay ni HR. Okay. Last, ito ang mga good to have na you could have it prepared after you graduate. Hindi siya absolutely necessary para makapag-apply kayo, para makakuha ng work. Pero again, from the title itself, good to have. So, ito, extra clothes. Hindi ko siya fully na-appreciate before. Hindi ko naisip na ganun pala importante magkaroon ng maraming damit na pang-work. Well, yung iba may uniform, so medyo mababawasan ang inyong problem when it comes to having extra clothes. So, uniform, baka iba Friday, merong casual day, ganun. But for some, daily na professional looking clothes. So, for guys, long sleeves, girls yung mga blazer, so and so. May time na naubusan na ako ng damit, tapos hindi ko alam, napapalaban ng mas madalas, kung may extra damit lang ng pang isang linggo, hindi gabi-gabi naglalaba. So, important din na merong extra set of clothes, hindi lang para sa kapag nag-work ka na, but also sa i-interview nyo. Merong times na sunod-sunod ang interview, so sunod-sunod din ako naka long sleeves, tapos umabot sa point again na naubusan na ako. So, good to have again. Ngayon siguro kapag may mga online na interview, sabihin natin back to back online interview, sabihin natin na in-interview ko ngayon ni HR, bukas ibang person naman sa company nila, baka makita nila isa lang polo nyo, I don't know. Better to have extra. Pero naka-note din dito sa aking slide, don't forget to check dress code na rin kasi kapag nag-check ka sa dress code, mas makakapag-prepare ka ng appropriate clothing. And check nyo na rin, extra tip, hindi ganun kaswak sa topic ko, pero extra tip, we always say na sa mga aming viewers, sa aming audience na kapag nag-a-apply, tapos i-invite ko for an interview, sasabihin ni HR, you can wear whatever you want, wala namang strict dress code. Hindi ibig sabihin nito, pupunta kayong super casual na naka round neck shirt, shorts even, hindi ganun. Ang ibig sabihin ng wear whatever you like. Kasi kapag pagpunta mo doon, important pa rin yan kay HR. Okay, next. Sample documents for your portfolio. Again, merong portfolio section. And then, ang mga sample dito, writing samples, digital design work, videos, drawings, paintings, pwede nyo siya ilagay na sa portfolio section nyo. Kasi, for example, ako, nag-apply ako before sa mga job about kailangan ng technical writing. And then, wala akong on-hand na documents na would show that I can write well, can write effectively. Kasi, well, sabihin natin, nangyari ay nandun sa isang computer or isang hard drive na wala na. Wala akong on-hand na writing samples. I guess kung in-upload ko siya somewhere, like yung sa resume link, I guess may easy access ako dito sa aking writing samples na pwede mapakita sa mga employers. So, yan. They'll go to your portfolio section, makikita nila, this person can do this, has a creative side. Again, kahit hindi directly related sa in-applyan nyo, pero kung bumaba sila sa portfolio section, makita, ay, nag-drawing pala siya. Ay, okay, babagay ito sa team. Hindi tayo naghahanap ng writer sa ating requirements, so description, pero makakatulong to sa atin. So, kahit hindi directly hinihingi, basta makita sa portfolio section, malaking tulong na siya. So, please upload. Last, certificates for short courses. At this time, yung iba, while looking for work, baka mas matagal siya than usual given our current circumstances. And this was a recommendation by a previous speaker of ours na you could increase your skills by going enrolling to short courses online. Sabi ko nga kanina, pagdating dun sa skills and achievements, hindi kailangan na before ka graduate mo na kuha na lahat ng skills at achievements na yon. You could have more skills, more achievements after you graduate. So, you could go online, check ng mga course, ano ba pwede. So, ako, kahit na may work ako, merong after work na short course na, ano ba katagal yun? Ilang weeks lang, MWF, papasa lang ako ng quiz. So, I ended up having an extra certificate. So, not only yung certificate, I actually learned more. Sometimes it's about learning. So, you could do this to make use of your time now. So, I think that's it. That's it for my talk. I believe we will have a Q&A after this. I would just like to ask you to please like us on Facebook. So, facebook.com/jobs180. And if you would like to contact us elsewhere, nandyan din sa screen ang aming website, email, IG, Twitter, and landline. So, thank you very much. This ends my talk, and I am ready for the Q&A. Hope you have questions for me, and I am looking forward to answering them.
Hi, sir. Thank you. Sir, question.
Sige,
Question.
saglit lang,
Sir,
i-end screen ko lang.
habang nag-iisip yung mga viewers natin ng questions nila, I prepared a couple for you. Okay.
Sige lang, go.
Before, we posted something about fresh grad experience a couple of days ago. So may nag-comment, sir, nag-graduate sila ng 2020. Pero, syempre, naudlot yung graduation. So, naudlot yung licensure. So, wala rin silang diploma. So, okay lang naman itong mga requirements na to ay to follow?
Kung to follow yung ibang requirements, yes, okay lang naman na to follow given na ang situation. Kasi, well, understanding naman yung HR that these are out of your control. Yung iba nga, I can't say for other companies, pero yung iba, they could already make you work and then to follow na nga yung document siguro. Sabihin niya, after a few weeks, after a month, pwedeng saka mo ipasa. So, yeah, okay lang yan.
Okay lang yun, di ba? Oh, guys, so don't worry if you don't have all of your requirements today. So, as long as you are making an effort into doing the interviews, ganyan, you can i-consider yun ng HR. So, next question, sir. There are instances na yung, kunyari, yung SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, tsaka TIN, yung companies yung magpo-process nito on behalf of the fresh grad or on behalf of the applicant.
Yes.
So usually pag onboarding, so pwede nilang i-process kasi usually may ano naman sila, 'di ba? Parang bulk naman sila mag-process ng mga BIR ng ganito,
Yes,
'di ba?
yes. So
Ayun.
that's,
So,
sige, go.
sige sir,
Okay.
sagutin mo.
Ako na ba? Sige, common din yun. That happens as well na si company sabay-sabay na pinaprocess ang applicants. It's just part of my recommendation na unahan nyo na kasi hindi nga lahat ng companies ay ganoon ang ginagawa. If wala kayo and then they offer, then good for you. Pero like yung example ko kanina, wala akong on hand ng ganto ganyan. It happens na ready na sana, magsa-start lang after makuha to. If it's not that hard for you, yung iba, marami naman ng malapit na branches, I'm assuming. Of course, iba ngayon, I'm not sure ngayon, pero if it's not that difficult for you, siguro a day lang, you could get, I don't know, at least two, baka nga lahat, you could get everything, then what's one day when yung risk na would happen is matatagalan pa kayo mag-work. So, yeah.
Yes, I agree, no? So if in the normal circumstance, kung walang pandemic at pas yung mga offices ng mga
Mm-mm.
government agencies na yon, madali lang usually makakuha ng mga
Mm.
ID na yon. So, let's hope na pag-ayos na itong lahat and back to normal na yung operations, madali or mas mabilis din mag-process ng requirements. Kasi for now, people who are getting their TIN or getting their SSS, they would still have to go to the office. So, wala pa
Okay.
tayong online process sa ngayon.
Hindi ba?
Sa ngayon.
Malay ba natin?
Alright,
Soon.
so sir, yes, well, if wala kayong question, so if wala kayong question talaga, I will be reading the people. So thank you for people who are watching from CPU Iloilo. We have people from PWU Manila, MSEUF, St. Louis University, University of Bohol, University of the East Manila. We have St. Paul University Manila, University of Bohol, Mariners Naga, Dalubasaan na Lungsod ng San Pablo. We have people from Lipa City Colleges. We have people from University of Makati. Ayan. Ayan. BSCAS, nabanggit ko na po kanina. So again, if you are here with us, please comment in your name and school para mabasa po natin yan mamaya. At para sa mga kararating pa lang, here are our topics. So ang topics po natin, second topic. Sir Robert, thank you by the way.
Thank you. And well, yung ibang school na mention mo, either nag-talk na ako or sana magto-talk ako. So sayang, I was hoping that I'd get to see you sa school nyo, but at the very least, you are here. So we are very thankful that you made an effort to join us here today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so again, thank you for the students from these universities for joining in. So, salamat po. For our second topic, we will be joined by Ernst and Young. So Ernst and Young is a global leader in assurance, advisory, tax, transaction advisory, and knowledge services. So worldwide, they have over 200,000 people united by their shared values and an unwavering commitment to quality. So Ernst and Young is committed to doing its part in building a better working world. So for our second speaker today, he is Sir Al Dennis Supetran. So Sir Dennis brings with him over 17 years of experience in supporting the learning and development needs of the organization across levels. So prior to joining EY, he worked with GP Strategies as the Learning, Leadership, and Management Training Manager for East Asia. He has also worked with HSBC Global Service Centers, partnering with various senior leaders in 7 countries to drive leadership development. So Sir Dennis has a Bachelor of Science degree in Psychology from Ateneo de Manila University. He is also a certified facilitator for situational leadership program from the Ken Blanchard Companies as well as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator program from CPP. So Sir Dennis, if you're there, kamusta po? Hi, Sir
Hey,
Dennis.
hello, Jobs 180, students, users. Right?
Hi, Sir. I'm Shari. How are you po?
I'm good. I'm good. So thankfully, the weather's cooperating this time around in QC, and I hope the weather is similarly pleasant wherever our users are joining us for today's talk. And I think it's great that a lot of individuals with the absence of job fairs. We have all of these online forums that you can really pick from the best experience from people from different industries.
Sir, before you start, so dami po sa mga viewers natin are from batch 20. So if I can ask, um, what do you think is your most memorable job hunting experience back when you were a freshman?
All right. So I think my most memorable experience and really has defined how I see what's essential and not essential is that immediately after college, I didn't go right away into a job, whether it was in education or in the corporate world. I actually did a year of volunteer work with JVP Philippines. So I was sent to down south, right, to Bulan Sorsogon, and I was attached to a school. And it's really the volunteer experience that's really shaped up because aside from me teaching high school students in a private school there run by the nuns, uh, Daughters of Charity nuns, I also did coordination with the local communities for fisher folk and also for local farmers so that they could have outreach programs for the school. And that really shaped what's essential because you really see people na alam mo yun yung isipin mo talaga na buhay
The ground.
yung bayanihan na even when they have nothing, they're more than willing to invite you into their home and share what they have with you.
Yes. Okay. So, very pang Miss Universe, sir, ang ano nyo, ang sagot nyo.
Mm.
Okay. Sir, can we try sharing your screen po?
Yes, I've shared it already. So there you go. Great.
So, sir, you have 20 minutes to present your talk. And I will be back for the Q&A para po ma-address yung questions ng viewers natin.
All right. Thank you so much, Sherry. And again, I just wanted to repeat my greetings earlier. So all of you Jobs 180 users out there, whether you're fresh graduates or you've been working for a while and you're trying to look at new platforms, look at new connections you can build. At first, when they approached me and talking about rerouting the career plan, initially I had a reaction to it. I was saying to myself, well, do you really need to reroute your career plan? And when they shared what were some of the circumstances some of you had shared with them, maybe you started out with an engineering degree and now you're looking, even with the lockdowns, is there an engineering company that's hiring right now? Maybe you're coming from a sciences background and you were thinking, oh, I wanted to go into, a medical field or a medical career. But then given the instability, and also, of course, the real danger. Sometimes maybe you're thinking, oh, I need to shift to something else, right? Or maybe you're coming from a humanities course and you're not quite sure, where do you fit in? What jobs are out there? And what I hope I'll be able to share with all of the users today is really, it's not just about rerouting, but rather going back to basics. What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you're really interested in? Because in my particular case, I shared earlier, I didn't start out in any one particular career. Throughout my 20 years, I've actually been in education. I was a guidance counselor as well in Ateneo de Manila University. I also did recruitment work, and then I found myself in my passion, which is really uh, learning with people and teaching what I know or connecting them to people that know what they need. And so when we talk about, EY, Global Services is actually part of the Global Delivery Services Network. So though EY as a whole has actually increased, so Sherry, shared earlier, 200,000. We're actually for 2020, for for this fiscal year, we're close now to almost 300,000 across the globe. And in particular, the Global Delivery Services group or entity within that framework, we work towards helping support EY in the various regions. So here in the Philippines alone, we started the year out with almost 2,000 employees, and halfway through the year, we're almost close to 3,000. So there's that continuous growth. Now, more important to that growth is really the strong partnerships. So Shari mentioned, EY as a global professional services firm usually has a focus on assurance, auditing, consulting or advisory services from before, tax, and also EY knowledge. But what's great and what I've learned in the 4 years that I've been with EY is that it's not just oh, I'm an accounting graduate, I'll fit in EY. You could be of any background and we can potentially have a place for you. Now what do I mean by that? So aside from the core business that we do, which is client services, and we partner up with a very strong local company here. So most of you might have heard of SGV and Co. So SGV and Company is the local partner of EY here in the Philippines. And GDS in particular actually started as part of SGV. But given the size that we've achieved just in the past 3 years that we've separated from SGV, we're now on track to really have a strong showing both from a local and also from a global perspective. So aside from the basic client services, we're also focusing on enablement services. So what are these things? These are functions wherein they help drive the delivery of services for our clients. So what's an example for MBAL, markets, business, and creatives? We have people that we've hired to be virtual executive assistants. So what do they do? You might have PPEDs or partners, principal, executive directors that work across the different regions, whether it be in Europe, whether it be in the APAC region, whether it be in the Americas region. Instead of having them and having executive assistants hired locally, they actually take a pool from the GDS team, and those are based mainly from Manila and also India, right? And so, for example, we also have our talent shared services team. So they provide HR services to across the region. So if you have an HR background, don't think that okay, there might be positions filled up already. So we actually have those types of jobs available, and we'll talk more about that. And the part of the team that I'm part of actually is GDS operations. So I'm the location leader for talent development. So all of the local needs for our client serving and enablement services staff for EY GDS Philippines, I and my team support them. Right now, going back to what we were saying, what's going to be important when you consider where you are now, what's happening around us. It's definitely the case that we're really living in extraordinary times. There might be a lot of uncertainty, there might be a lot of fear, but more important to that is what mindset are you adopting? And when you take a look at this particular site, I hope it also rings a bell with you, and it also impacts you the same way that it impacted me when when they first showed it, when we had our realignment of strategic objectives early last year, or late last year rather. It's a very simple question, but it really begs the question. When you think about your skill set, what you know, what you've done, especially for some of you that have had the opportunity to have some working experience, right? Is that going to take you further than compared to your mindset? How are you, looking at things? What's the attitude that you take when it comes to challenges? And given how companies, and not just EY in particular, given how companies are faring in today's environment, what we're seeing consistently across the board is that people, organizations that have the right mindset, that have that mindset of flexibility, continuous learning, they're in a far better position to make changes compared to people that maybe looking at the glass half empty, so to speak. And so when you think about some tips, and because we only have a half an hour, I really just wanted it to make it simple for everyone. So what are these 3 tips? So first off is evaluate your current skill sets. What do you know? What have you done? Right? And later we'll talk about what's the difference between transferable and non-transferable skill set. And what does that mean for you when you're looking for a job, right? The next tip I can share with everyone, right, is look for companies that have strong and deeply rooted values. Now, the reason for this is, again, based also off of my own personal experience. I've been working close to 20 years now, 17 years formally in the corporate sector, and all of that I've gone through a lot of changes. Some might say, okay, well, the 2008 global financial crisis, that doesn't compare to how widespread the disruption the COVID-19 health pandemic has really impacted all the countries, all the companies, across the globe, regardless of where you are, whether you're, in the first world country or in a third world country or in an emerging world country, right? But one thing that's been consistent is that when you look at these companies that have strong and deeply rooted values, the tendency in most cases is that they make decisions for their people, for their business based off of their values. And we'll talk more about that and how does that impact you when you're considering what company to apply to. Now, the last one is really, for some of you that just recently graduated, and I've had the opportunity to have some campus talks as well on behalf of EY in the past. Um, what's going to be important, whether you're just fresh out from university or you've been working for some time, is that continue to study, be curious, read, join online groups, online forums, professional associations that will help you discuss and learn more about what's the future of work in your field. And that's going to be very important because when we talk about rerouting your career, for some of you, you might not be as clear. I certainly wasn't so clear about what my career path was going to be when I first started out, back in 2000 after graduating and after a year doing volunteer work. But because I focused on what I was passionate about, what really interested me, what engaged me and energized me, that helped me land my work where I am right now. Okay. So with that, we'll go ahead and go to the first tip: evaluate your skill set. So when we think about your skill set, think about what you've learned, what experiences have you had, what is it that you put into your resume. So I was able to catch the last few minutes of the previous speaker, and he was talking about what some recruiters look when you're submitting resume. So this is an important piece to consider. So first off, you need to differentiate what are your non-transferable skills. And normally we talk about non-transferable skills as being technical knowledge, something that's specific to your field. An example of which would be engineering, right? So maybe you're a mechanical engineer or you're an electrical engineer. So that is something that's specific to your field that you can't just very easily transfer to another field or to another industry. It could also be system or organizational knowledge. So maybe you've been part of the company for the past 2 years, 3 years. So there might be some systems that only that company employs. And so when you move to another company or maybe in school, you learn to use, Internet Explorer. And for some of you that are, keeping track of the most recent updates, Microsoft just recently announced, Internet Explorer is going to be taken out from active support. So it will no longer be supported by Microsoft starting September of this year, right? Or later this year, I believe. And so those are, examples of non-transferable skills, skills that are specific to, the course or the career that you may have mapped out for yourself. Now we come to the more important part, and this is, my personal favorite: transferable skills. So when you talk about transferable skills, these are experiences that when you look at any industry, right? In my case, I've had, like what I mentioned earlier, I've had the opportunity to work, in the academe as a counselor. I've worked as a recruiter, which is still part of, talent. I've also worked in community groups, right? And so when you think about that, and now I'm in the corporate world, right? I've been through different companies. HSBC is a financial services firm. EY is a professional services firm, and one of the first companies that I got into after I left the academy was Sykes Asia, which is a business process outsourcing company, right? So, looking at that, you might say, okay, those are different companies, involved in different exercises. But what helped me be successful and move from one company to the other is my transferable skills. So these are things that, like project management. Have you handled projects? Have you worked in small or large teams from before? Community building and networking. How do you build your communities? How do you ensure that you're able to talk more uh, you know, uh, about how you can pool resources, how you can ensure that challenges that you have can be addressed by somebody who has the correct background or has the correct knowledge or even has the correct contacts, right? You're looking at conflict resolution skills, right? So maybe it's a student organization that you were part of, right? Maybe you don't have or you weren't holding an official position like the president or vice president or PRO manager, right? Uh, but regardless, there, maybe you've had experiences in a lot of situations wherein you had individuals or people with varying opinions, and sometimes those varying opinions can get very heated, right? So how are you able to resolve that? Nowadays, even digital tools. And the reason why I put in Microsoft 360 in particular, that's suite of services, especially the predictive analytics part of it that a lot of companies are looking into so that they can be more productive now that we're shifting into our new normal where networking, remote working can be something that is a staple of life already. You can also take a look at cybersecurity tools because even if you're working, in a back end office work wherein you're never talking to, active clients, cybersecurity, how do you ensure that the information that you're using, that you're handling, that you're passing on to other people is secure? That's a transferable skill. And even digital media. So maybe in the past, you were writing a blog or you have a Facebook page that you've increased your visibility. Maybe even on IG platform, you have a lot of followers and you've built up a reputation for yourselves. All of those are transferable skills. So between the two, when you take a look at non-transferable and transferable skills, does this necessarily mean you focus on transferable skills? Not necessarily, because depending on what you want to get into, there are some fields that definitely non-transferable skills or technical knowledge is definitely going to be needed. Case in point, engineering fields or fields with highly technical requirements, right? You have let's accounting for EY in particular, accounting, tax experience, right? So those are things that you still need to pay attention to. But what's important, and especially when you're looking at positions that you're applying for in companies, a tip I can share with you is that some companies, especially even if you're a fresh graduate, you can still put forward your best foot, even if you've not had any formal working knowledge, by really looking at what have been your accomplishments in terms of learning and demonstrating these transferable skills. So maybe you're not cum laude from your batch, but maybe you were one of the student participants or volunteers that successfully engaged in community building between your school and your local community. So that's a transferable skill that you learn, and that's something that you can definitely showcase when you have your resumes. Another thing is when you take a look at job openings. A lot of times, those job openings would list down what are you supposed to do, what's required of you, and not based off of my experience as well. Only some of these, especially if it's not specifically or it's not a technically demanding job, not a lot of them would put in specific technical knowledge that they're looking for. And that's where you can really shine the best and showcase what transferable skills have you picked up. And so the last tip I can have for this first one is really, whenever possible, increase your transferable skills. Expand your list of things that you've learned, and more importantly, make sure that when you've learned things, right? Nowadays, we've been very fortunate with the internet, and also with the commitment from the government and also our internet providers to really continue improving the quality of our connections, that makes online learning feasible and accessible. So make sure that if your internet connection allows for it, go ahead and sign up for these online courses. If your internet connection doesn't allow for joining live streaming, then go ahead, go to websites where you can download content. So even if it takes you a day, 2 days, at least you'll get that material. And as you increase your transferable skill set, that makes you even more confident about whatever question or situation that your interviewer can send to you. Right? So that's for the first step. Now, what's the second one? So look for companies that have deeply rooted values. Because again, like what I mentioned earlier, these companies will make these decisions based on those values despite circumstance. An example of which was, back when I was in HSBC back in 2008, when the global financial crisis hit. Obviously there were immediate impacts. Some salaries were frozen, no increases for some of the people, myself included, in the management teams. Bonuses were minimal at best. But what really shone through during that time was the continued message: we're here to support you. And so even when you have the rewards component reduced or minimized, we still did a lot of programs. We did a lot of development. We did a lot of mentoring programs back in my company, and in particular, EY really has shone through, and we were able to quickly pivot. And this is really based off of EY's value, which is our people. Right? We don't have any physical, product that we manufacture, and so the values of EY really continue to be, focused on our people and our values and our purpose, which is, building a better working world. And when we look at what we've been able to accomplish, so EY is 300,000 persons strong, but even here in the Philippines, we were able to quickly pivot. When the quarantine period was announced March 16 of this year, just barely 2 weeks after that, we were already able to shift into a full 100% virtual onboarding for our new hires. Um, the first 2 days or first week after the extreme community quarantine was announced for Metro Manila, all of our employees, with the exception of just 1% or maybe less than 20 people, were left to man our physical offices. And the reason for that is because even prior to the COVID-19 health pandemic, EY was really focused on everyone uh, uh, working dynamically, or working on the dynamics they have with each other. EY wanted everyone to be flexible in our working arrangements. And so one of the setups that we have is that all of us, all of the employees, regardless of staff level, even for our executive leadership, all of us had laptops already available. Now, with the exception of some that have hardware requirements, so some of them may had additional screens, additional hardware that they needed to do their job, especially for our creative team. But all were able to shift very quickly to a virtual, and that really shows you that even before the COVID-19 health pandemic, EY was already set up to be very agile and to be able to pivot directly. And so 6 months into our quarantine period, right? And right now we're under general community quarantine. Our focus has shifted into not just shifting things to virtual, but how do we make people successful in working with these virtual teams? So, for example, in my case, I've been running leadership programs with all of the counselors or people leaders in EY Philippines to ensure that they're equipped. So we're doing training on topics like handling virtual teams. How do you promote belongingness and inclusiveness? Because when you look at the best performing teams, these are teams that every individual in that team feel that they belong, feel that they are included in the team's decision, and that they provide value to the team. And so when we talk about online learning, it's not just how to make people successful in the interim, but how to set them up for success in the long term. And so when we take a look at the demand for talent, right? Just before we closed the fiscal year for fiscal year 20, which ended June of this year, we continue to have a lot of openings. And here are some of them. More importantly, later at the end of my presentations, I'll also share with you the link to the EYGDS portal in jobs180.com. And I encourage each and every one of you to really go ahead and take a look at that, because these are just, again, a small number of openings that we have in GDS Manila. But when we talk about the effectivity of those transferable skills, we've seen it happen time and time and again. I have somebody who just joined my team recently, this April of this year, who actually came from our consulting practice. So her background was, previous to that, she worked with Shell, and then she moved over to EY, where she was working with a consulting practice doing workforce management. But now she was able to shift and go into talent development or training, right? We have associates that started out from our automation practice, but because they wanted to focus on how they can help people and their teams improve their processes, they're part of our service excellence team, which focus on process improvement across the site. Right. So again, just going through those things, those two first steps, assess your skill sets, and look at companies that you're considering in applying for. Look for companies that have a strong focus and deeply rooted values. Now, what's the last tip that I have? Study, read, and discuss. And this is really something that is going to be dependent on your mindset. If your mindset is, the more that you learn, the more that you find out you don't know things. There's so much that you can find out. There's so much to learn. There's so many people to get to know that have that knowledge, that are passionate and willing to share that information. And so when you think about it, here are three things that I can give that can help you in terms of finding out what's the future of work. So first off is, how can you learn more in less time? Now, this is where you have to take a look. What platform or what medium do you find most useful to you? Right? For some of you, and this is what studies have proven time and time again. Right? Millennials are what we call digital natives. You're very comfortable with technology, right? You're able to multitask. You're able to learn new platforms, and so I hope jobs180.com is also a platform that you can really use effectively in your search, and finding out and educating yourself, because it might be that some of you jobs 180 users, you currently have a job that you're doing, and so using the platform doesn't necessarily mean you're looking for a job, but at least it gives you opportunity to learn more about what's out there. What skill set are people looking for? What are the different types of jobs that are coming up more and more, right? So those are things that you can take on so that you can learn more in less time. Next is what aspect of your work or career can be done remotely, and this is something that a lot of people might not have the answers for, and that's why it's very important. Look up, join online forums, join online groups. If you have a professional group or association that operates within your field, go ahead and make sure that you uh, put forward your membership application, because it's those avenues that can give you insights about what's changing and how that can be done remotely, right? A lot of times, people might say nowadays, oh, I have better chances to work in a job that people are not willing to go to work for, right? Or some of you might be thinking, oh, I need to look for jobs that will allow me to work remotely. But the question is, are you aware of what can be done remotely in the first place? What aspect of your work, right? Are there platforms? Are there tools that you need to update yourself so that that will allow you to be able to do that work remotely? So that way, even if you're just, even if you're still in the process of looking for a job, if you're already arming yourself with knowledge of how MS Teams work, of how, like in this particular case, I'm using uh, I'm using this platform, right, StreamYard, for the very first time. And again, it's something that I'm learning, and maybe in the future I'll also be using, right? And the last one I can share with everyone just before I wrap up is really be flexible, be agile. And when we talk about agile, we're not just talking about physical agility, but we're now talking about your mental agility, your attitude towards learning, your attitude towards changing things that you might have gotten used to, habits that you've had. And so when we think about building a better working world despite the circumstances we're encountering, we hope that you'll join EY, and we hope that you'll find a place with us. So I've put here on the last slide the Jobs 180 site. Please do go ahead and access that. If you want to find out more about EY and how we operate, whether it's our local practice partner, SGV and Company, or GDS as a whole, you can actually access the EY career site at the following web location, and it has links to our corporate site as well to give you a better idea of what are the different industries and sectors that EY operates in. So with that, thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful long weekend ahead of you. I'll pause the presentation now for questions. So Shari.
Hi, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that talk. If there's anything that I really get from the talk, I really really appreciate is that you will never be back to zero. Even if,
Mhm.
for example, your industry is not performing well right now, if you got laid off from a job, you will never be back to zero. So you just have to go back to your skill set. You don't have to completely reroute your career plan.
Mhm.
Right, sir? So, thank you
Yes.
po doon sa insight na yun. As in na ano talaga ako, na enlightened talaga ako. Okay, sir,
Mhm.
the team prepared questions. So,
Yes.
first question. Uh, sir, what do you think are the basic transferable skills that fresh grads should know?
All right. So first off, is really project management, and when we talk about project management, is handling a project from start to end. So start might include things like creating a proposal. How do you get buy-in? Um, how do you explore for the needs of the person you're creating the project with, right? And then execution for that project can be things like how do you keep in budget? How do you ensure that people who are not part of your team, you still get them interested? So this is influencing, diba? And then of course, when you end the project, how do you ensure that the learnings, the takeaways, you're able to share with them? So it could be anything like maybe you have a church presentation for Easter coming up, right? Or even Christmas, right? Uh, that in itself is a project, but breaking down what you did throughout that process, that's going to require you to research, to learn more. And so when you're faced with a recruiter, you can confidently say, I haven't had, work experience, but I've worked on a lot of projects for my
Project.
church group, for my
It
community group.
sounds technical. Project management, it sounds
Yes.
technical. Pero
Yes.
totoo, you've had experiences like this before. Okay,
Mm-mm.
sir, next question. Sir, EY is hiring for fresh and entry level positions. They can come from any course as long as they complete like a basic training from Ernst and Young. Is that correct?
Yes. So, for example, again, there are obviously some positions that require specific technical knowledge, like for our consulting. If you're being hired for SAP or Oracle, obviously that requires you to be familiar with that platform. But let's say, for example, for our executive or executive administrative assistants, right, our EAs. They can be assistants or even what do you call this, events management specialists. We've had some applicants and some staff right now coming from that particular background. And what's important is that when you join EY, we have a strong focus really on getting or setting you up for success. So that includes soft skills training at the very beginning. Like in my particular case, the message that we've set is that our leadership courses are available for everyone. Now, the only requirement that we have is, let's say you're a new staff, you want to sign up for a coaching class. The only question that we ask is one, are you going to be promoted within the next, 6 to 12 months? Or two, are you going to be able to apply those skills that you learned? If the answer is yes to either one, you can actually sign up for the class. Even if it says, oh, assistant director only or manager only, staff level can actually apply or join those sessions.
Okay. So thank you for that, Sir Dennis. Guys, if you are interested, please go to jobs180.com/EYGDS. So please keep your application, send in your application so they can process it, and so you guys can be a part of the company. Okay? So thank you, Sir Dennis. Maraming salamat po sa inyong time for being
Thank
here
you so
with us.
much, everyone.
Thank you,
Stay
sir.
safe and healthy.
Okay, so now let's proceed to our third speaker. Again, we will be discussing motivation and productivity to be presented by Optum Global Solutions. Optum is a team composed of 13,000 passionate professionals in various capabilities within technology, clinical operations, and customer service. So Optum is continuously growing in the country with operations in the cities of Taguig, Quezon City, Cebu, and their newest site in Muntinlupa. So guys, this is our third topic. If you guys are coming in, please comment your name and school so we can read them after the talk. Please send in your questions using the comment box para mabasa po natin siya at ma-prepare natin itanong sa ating speaker. Okay? So the talk will be presented by Ms. Kristine Pasia. She is a graduate of from De La Salle University Manila, where she finished her course of international studies, majoring in European studies. So she then started her first job in Citigroup Business Process Solutions back in 2010 as an sourcing associate. So today, she is currently employed for more than 7 years with Optum Global Solutions as a recruitment manager who handles specifically the campus and the graduates program. Ms. Reese, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, ma'am. Kamusta
Good
po?
afternoon. Good
Kamusta
afternoon.
po?
I'm doing well. How
Ma'am,
about you?
okay naman po. Sana hindi masyadong umulan para hindi connection natin.
Correct.
Ma'am, we have a lot of viewers na batch 2020. Ayan.
Uh-huh.
So, isa po sa mga gusto kong itanong before you start ay yung tungkol sa fresh grad experience ninyo, fresh grad
Mhm.
job hunting story ninyo. So, before po, when you were starting, were you able to experience rejections sa mga interviews? Or are you one of the lucky ones na pumasa tapos start na agad?
Well, with that question, Shari, as a fresh graduate, not so long ago naman, like just a few years back, um, I had my certain challenges, of course, in looking for a job. It's always going to be a bit of a challenge at your part because, of course, as a fresh graduate, you're really nervous. You're starting in a new chapter of your life, and it's something that it's going to be completely new to you. So of course, with the help of my university and certain friends and yeah, friends that I had, they gave me a few tips on how to look for a job, how can I be referred. So these are certain things that you learn during the journey of looking for a job. It's not as easy as you think. Very lucky are the people who find a job off the bat, like their first interview, first company, then they get a job right away. Very lucky. As a fresh grad, I had to go through maybe about four interviews before I finally landed my job in Citigroup. In Citigroup, which was my first company, and I was referred by one of my friends. So, but before that, you really have to make sure that your resume is really ready with all the information that you would need to put. You have to make sure that you practice during the interviews or practice with a friend when you have when for the interview session, and make sure that you are well prepared physically and mentally when you go to your interviews. So, as my experience really as a fresh graduate looking for a job, it wasn't the easiest, but at least once I found the job, I truly understood the whole process, and which made me grow into even a stronger person.
Yeah. Ma'am, we will need your tips for productivity and motivation later for our viewers kasi majority of them are from recent batches. Batch 2020, marami rin 2019. So they would really appreciate if they hear it from a person who's 7 years strong in the industry na. Okay? So,
Yes.
ma'am, if you can share your screen so we can
Okay.
test it.
All right. Just let me
You
know.
have 20 minutes to discuss, and I will be back for the Q&A after po.
Okay. All right. Just let me know, Shari, if you see my screen already, so at least I
Yes, ma'am.
know. Okay, perfect. Everything good?
Wait lang, ma'am, ah. Di pa siya nag-flash. Loading pa po, ma'am. It's
Okay.
there. Ayan na, ma'am.
All right, perfect. So I guess we can begin, Shari. I'll take it
Yes,
now.
ma'am.
All
Yes
right.
po. Take
So
it away.
again, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kristine Pasia. I'm part of Optum Global Solutions Philippines. And thank you so much for joining the Jobs 180 webinar, where I will be discussing about motivation and productivity. As Shari mentioned, there are a lot of fresh graduates that are online right now, batch 2020 and batch 2019. So for everyone, first, congratulations. It's really already such a success on your end in graduating, especially at this time. So you should be proud of yourselves and make sure that you are still highly motivated in looking for a job right now. So today I would like to discuss my topic, and I hope that you'll learn a thing or two from my end. Now, to start things off, I really want to introduce myself in a more casual way. I don't want it to be like, oh, I'm just Miss Kristine Pasha, but I want you to know me as myself. I'm, of course, Kristine Pasha, or people call me Reese. I've been with my company for almost 8 years already, part of Optum Global Solutions for over 8 years as a recruitment manager right now. And I'm seen as a person to be very positive. So I coined the hashtag called Positive Pasha because I like to see, of course, the positive things in life. When something goes wrong in my life or something challenging really comes about, I make sure to look into the positive things and still push through and make sure that the job is done. I'm also part of a family of five, the middle child of three sisters. And as you can see, that my family were very active and were part of the Down Syndrome Association of the Philippines, and my parents being the founders, because my younger sister has Down syndrome. So we are very passionate and really engaging, and of course, educating people of what Down syndrome is and accepting them in the society today. I'm also married. So I've been married for almost 2 years already to my husband, Anjo. So for people who say walang forever, meron naman. We were together for 10 years before we got married. So don't worry, someone special is there for you. Someone out there is special, will be there for you. I also like playing basketball. So people sometimes get very surprised about the sport that I love, which is basketball. I've been playing basketball since I was grade 4. And from time to time, when I have spare time, I'm able to play, of course. But not right now. Let's keep safe, stay indoors. You can just dribble na lang inside your house first. And lastly, I really am very passionate when it comes to musical theater. So I've been doing theater since I was a teenager, and I'm very passionate about going on stage, really singing and dancing. It really makes me very happy. And even listening to it just really makes my day. So if for all the theater fans out there, I hope you're enjoying your music at the safety of your homes. And of course, just watching musicals maybe through social media sites. All right, so basically that's me. Now, I also want to casually also share with you more about my company. For sure, not a lot of people are familiar with Optum. So here I'm given this time to really share with you who we truly are. So Optum Global Solutions is a Fortune 7 company composed of really about almost 190,000 employees globally. And in the Philippines, we're over 19,000 employees. So you can imagine how big the company is. And we are growing very much, we are growing immensely in the Philippines. Even during this time, we make sure that we really help people live healthier lives as our mission. And the specific thing about Optum is that we touch every aspect of the healthcare system, even through financing and delivery. So if I could compare us to a certain to a local company, it would maybe be the closest for me would be your healthcare insurance companies, certain like MaxiCare or IntelliCare. So we are an insurance company that really wants to help people live healthier lives. But definitely compared to MaxiCare and IntelliCare, we're in a global avenue. So we make sure that the healthcare system works for everyone, especially the people right now who need it the most during this time. Now, as you also heard me say, our mission really is to to help people live healthier lives and to help the health system work better for everyone. And truly, as an employee of Optum and being with the company for over 8 years already, I could truly see that this mission and the values of the organization live through and ring true to each employee of the company. We make sure that we have on our day-to-day work that we live through this value and our mission by doing what's important, and it's really putting the people first. Our values are very also much important to each individual and employee of the organization. Integrity, compassion, relationships, innovation, and performance are the values that we make sure that we work with every single day as we do our work daily. Out of really the values, I think relationships is very much important. That's what's needed right now in helping really bridge things together, especially right now that we're all working from home. And, it's kind of hard to discuss things online and to get things done. But with our relationships and with the certain values that we have in Optum, we make sure that we are successful and that we perform very well at the end of the day. Now, our operations in the Philippines, we have 4 sites here. As Shari mentioned earlier, the newest site would be in Alabang in the Philinvest City in Northgate, specifically that building. But our first site was actually in Taguig. It would be in McKinley Hill Town Center in Science Hub. So this would be beside the Venice Piazza Mall, if you're familiar with that. It's famous for the gondolas. So that would be the first site of Optum. And then followed by our second site, which would be in Cebu City in IT Park. And we also have our site in Quezon City in North Gate. So with these 4 sites, we are more than 19,000 strong and doing our life's best work. Also, opportunities that we have in Optum would really be under technology, customer service, the clinical business, and the shared services business. We make sure that with all these businesses that we have within our organization, we work towards that mission of helping people live healthier lives. But with these opportunities as well, we make sure that we hire the best people to be part of our company and make sure that they are also aligned with our culture and values. So, as you can see, there are several opportunities that you can join within our organization, and I'll touch on that more later throughout the session. I also wanted to share with you and take this time to let you know about how we were able to respond during the pandemic. So this is our COVID-19 response. At that time, of course, in March, personally I was very nervous. It was the time when we didn't know if the lockdown was going to really happen or not. So my company, Optum Global Solutions, made sure and lived through with our value of really putting our people first. And when before the lockdown even happened, my company was able to send the employees of the organization home. We were able to work from home March 13, and I believe the lockdown happened March 15 or 16, if I'm not mistaken. But we were already at the safety of our homes. They made sure that we were well taken care of, that we were safe, because really the safety of the employee was the priority of the organization. Currently, we are still also being paid our full wages of the entire workforce of the organization. We also made sure that we still continue working. So we turned everything into virtual hiring for for our process and recruitment, to protect especially our candidates and employees throughout the recruitment process. And 90% of the workforce are still currently working from home at this moment because, as I mentioned, it's really our mission to put our people first. And it's very important that the safety of the employees of Optum are our top one priority. We also were able, in spite of everything that has happened, really taking care of each employee, having our leaders bring our laptops and devices to our own homes. We were still able to really live through our mission in helping people live healthier lives by donating to certain organizations that needed our help. So we donated globally as an organization to Brazil and Chile, even in India and Ireland. But locally here in the Philippines, we were able to partner with Caritas Manila, and we were able to donate to them a certain sum, so that we could also help our brothers and sisters in this nation. So being part of Optum really makes me proud, especially at this time, because we really lived through our mission, and it really showed the compassion of the organization and really truly living our values. Okay. So, with that, I was able to share a few things about the organization. Now, going to my topic in really being highly motivated and productive in doing your life's best work. So, currently, we are all at home for sure. As you are all on your own devices, going through certain webinars, trying to get yourself to look for a job. Sprucing up your resumes already, looking for companies that are hiring, and it gets really overwhelming. I totally understand that. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle, especially when you hear certain news about what's happening with the country, and then you hear news about what's happening with school. There's a lot of things happening right now, and it gets really overwhelming. So that honestly affects your motivation and productivity because you're in shock. You don't know what to do anymore. So sometimes you just end up sitting down, and then there's so many things coming into your head. So right now, I just wanted to give you, a few minutes. I want to take a few minutes of your time to really help you and give you a few tips on how to still be motivated and productive even at this time. Right. So as you can see, and what I also described a while ago, most of you must be feeling like this. As you can see, how do you think Jane is feeling right now? From the picture, she honestly looks bored or tired, uninspired, unmotivated, lazy, unproductive, and distracted. These are things that we definitely feel right now. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that way because it's our current situation. But it's how you deal with how you feel right now and turning it into how to be more motivated and productive. When you're feeling tired or uninspired or unmotivated, do you just want to stay that way? No, right? You want to turn it around and say, hey, I want to stand up, do something productive with my life. There's still so much to do, right? There's still so much to look forward to. So it's time to stand up and be more productive, right? Now, let's first define what motivation really is. Now, from the definition of Oxford, it's really the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. It also mentioned that it's the general desire or willingness of someone to do something. So it's really mainly your push or drive into doing something. What really motivates you, right? What would get you to your certain goal? How do you reach that? Now, there are also, if you did not know, there are two types of motivation, which is the external motivation and internal motivation. And let's define both. So, external motivation is when we are compelled to do something for a certain reward. For example, external motivation would be ex- doing a certain project or completing a certain project because you want an A plus or 100 in your grade. Or an external motivation could be, let's say, when you're trying to complete a certain task at home or for school because you want to be rewarded with, let's say, highest grades or best awards in the school or organization. So these are external things that would push you to get things done. Now, the difference between internal motivation is when you are compelled by things that are personally gratifying. So these are things that would make you feel very happy, or you'd feel a lot of gratitude towards with what you have completed. It could be, let's say, completing, let's say, a certain task at home in making a cake. Let's say you saw online that people are making dalgona coffee and you wanted to also try it. So you created your own masterpiece of the dalgona coffee. Internally, you're motivated because you want to do that for yourself. So it's that internal drive that you want to complete a certain task or learn something new on your end. So it's really a spark of your own interest and your own motivators to complete that thing. So those are the two types of motivations, and which really we see nowadays. It's really mainly also, of course, the mix of both as that you're seeing. External motivation to get certain things done at work or definitely at school, or internal motivation in looking for a job, getting that job done, or getting hired in a company. Right? So these are certain things and motivations that we should look into. So at least it would help us get to the goals that we want. Now, with everything that's happening, you have already we have defined already what motivation is. We know the external motivation and internal motivation, but still a lot of things are happening right now, and it's really hard to get that drive sometimes, especially when you wake up, you're like, what am I going to do? Oh my gosh, I have so much to do, or like, how do I start looking for a job right now? So it's a lot. You get really overwhelmed with all these thoughts. So your mind has a lot of things happening. So, really, with all the changes nowadays, how do I keep myself motivated and productive in the time of Corona? Now, luckily, I have 8 tips that I can share with you to really help yourself with motivating yourself and being productive at the same time. I think it's very important that if you are motivated, definitely productivity will follow after that. So I will share you 8 tips on how to be more productive and motivated. All right. Number one, it's always being kind to yourself. So, right now, as I mentioned, there are a lot of things happening in the news, outside. We're all at the safety of our homes, but it's mainly being kind to yourself is adjusting to these certain situations. We are all working from home, studying from home, looking for a job, doing virtual interviews. And it's something really new that we didn't expect that would happen. Like, I didn't think I would be interviewing someone virtually for a whole year. Or I also didn't expect for me to be studying and starting my new school year at home, right? So these are certain things that we have to truly accept and adjust to. So being kind to yourself in this adjustment would really help you also kind of appease your mind and still help you and also would help you motivate yourself to do certain things. So mainly it's really being kind to yourself by adjusting to your environment. It could be, let's say, adjusting to working in a certain place in your house. You're not used to working from home because there's so much distractions. So why don't you look for a spot where you could really focus and concentrate and adjust to that? Adjust to working online and studying online, and definitely it would help you boost motivation. Number two would really be limit news and social media consumption. With a lot of time that we have on our hands right now, if let's say you haven't yet started looking for a job or you haven't started with school, there's a lot of time. Really, we have so much time in our hands throughout the day, and sometimes we just end up looking and streaming all these certain things online through Facebook and YouTube, even TikTok. There's certain things that we consume that is not very healthy anymore for our mental state or our mental health, really. So limiting the news and social media consumption would really help you also think about certain things that you'd like to complete or do. It would also help you boost productivity because after you put down your device or you close your laptops or turn off your tablets, you'll be like, what else can I do that would help me motivate myself and be more productive? So, my suggestion here is really limiting your news consumption and even social media consumption to about 30 minutes per day. Or even through breaks, you can give, let's say, yourself 15 minutes while you're completing your task. You're like, I just need a break. You can do it for 15 minutes and then put it away. But make sure not to do it for more than like an hour or two, because that would really also ruin the mood of your day and also ruin the productivity that you'd need through to push you throughout the day. So you need that certain motivation and productivity throughout the day. So let's put down the phone and devices maybe at a time. I know it's hard. I even have a hard time putting my device down, but it really helps if you're very mindful about your consumption. It would really help push motivation and productivity. Now, number three would really be establish a routine. So before the lockdowns, before our ECQs and GCQs, we had a certain routine. Going to school, perhaps, right? You'd wake up in the morning, get ready for school, eat breakfast, um, commute or travel to your school. Throughout the day, you go through school, you go home, do your homework, do projects. There was a certain routine that you would really follow. And it also works the same way with people working. Everyone had their routine before the lockdowns. Now, with the lockdowns and everyone working from home, it kind of also mixed up a bit, right? Because you had a routine at home, you also had a routine outside your home, and you're now putting it together. So you'd have to marry those two routines and make sure that you establish a certain routine that would help you adjust also to your certain situation. Make sure that you're able to really understand what are these certain things that I have to do to get things done. So again, it's pushing still the same routine that you had before and also kind of putting a little bit of your home routine. Because once you understand that certain routine, it would really help you also get things done easily and faster because it would also remind you of what you were doing before in the past, right? Because it would make you remember your certain routine in the past and it would help you complete things and be more successful with the tasks that you have to complete. Number four is really taking a break. I know it's funny because usually you think, but I'm always on break, right? But let's also take a break, especially for the ones working from home, or especially also the ones studying from home. I mean, imagine at work and at school, we had breaks. We had lunch break, we had our recess, right? So let's also take a break from work because sometimes you'll be so consumed with certain things in completing projects, in completing work, in looking for a job, in really reviewing and looking through the backgrounds of all these companies. Sometimes you're just in your computer the whole day and you won't realize that you never stopped working. So let's make sure that to always take a break. You also need time to recharge because like our devices, we charge them, right? So we also have to make sure that we are able to recharge ourselves so that at least the work that we put into after a break would be more would be better. If you think about it, it would be better. You'll have better output and also be more successful with the work that you have completed. So make sure to take a break. It could be a coffee break, it could be like just maybe watching TV, reading a book. um, my suggestion for a break could be about 30 minutes or even an hour, like lunch break, right? We all have an hour for lunch break. So give yourself a break. Take time to be kind to yourself as well. Now, number six would really to figure out your personal motivators. So, as I mentioned, this is also tied up with internal motivation. Right now, it's again overwhelming to do certain things. So, but this is also a great time to understand what are those internal motivators that would help you be more successful in certain tasks that you want to complete. As a fresh graduate, you want to, of course, your end goal is to find a job, right? But what are certain personal and internal motivators that would help you reach your goal in looking for a job? So, this is the time when you can really understand certain skills and talents that you have to also match to a certain position that you are looking for. It's also very important that your personal motivators would be aligned to the company's mission and values and culture. Remember, it's not because you can do the job, it's not just that, but also your values and culture have to be aligned with also the company's culture and values. And that way you can also be very successful. So your personal motivators would really help you understand who you are, but also where you can also work. It would help you find that right company for you, where you will be able to grow and develop as an individual. So, again, take this time to really find your personal motivators. You can truly look out of the box. Try to be very creative. If you're, let's say, a graduate of design, you can start practicing and really pushing yourself to do your projects. There's really a lot of time on your hands right now. So, again, it's really important to take time to understand yourself and your own personal motivators. Now, number seven is to really set your deadlines. So, again, you want to do so much things right now. You want to complete certain tasks really quickly, but it's really hard when you have certain things, you have certain tasks and they're piling up, right? Day by day. So, it's very important that whatever you want to complete today, make sure that you set a deadline. So for me, I personally have a planner. I know it's funny, but I still use a planner right now because I put my to-do list there. So at least I'm able to still use it. So have a to-do list for the day. There's a lot of things happening right now, but it's also your responsibility to complete tasks that you'd like to complete. So make sure to, let's say, complete a to do list, and make sure whatever you want to achieve for the day, you're able to complete it. And that way, you're not naghahabol with certain tasks that you want to complete. So you'll be more responsible and able to really fix everything. Okay. And then number seven is really staying connected. So right now, we're all at home and we're all with our family members. So sometimes you just really want to break from, the family members and talk to someone else. This is also considered as a break because it also helps you with your mental health. So make sure to really connect with your friends, even teachers if you'd like, professors, and certain relatives that you'd like to speak to. This is the time it would also help you get motivated because you can learn a thing or two from the friends that you have, your peers, from your professors. They can give you also very good advice on how to look for a job. Or talk to your titos and titas or cousins or friends who already have jobs, to get advice on, let's say, your interviews, or if you'd like to practice your interview skills with them. I hope that they'll help you with that. But it's really good to be connected and make sure that we stay connected with each other because it also helps us grow. It also helps us, it helps us with our motivation and being productive because with that, they will inspire you. Sorry about that. They They will inspire you to even push yourself better to find that right job for yourself. So, again, connect with people, connect with your friends, but make sure, of course, to have very fruitful conversations. Don't just make chismes or anything like that. Make sure that these are conversations that would help you grow and develop as an individual. And lastly, it's really tapping into who you really are. Okay. So this is the time where you would really want to understand how you want to work, right? How do you want to keep yourself motivated and productive? So with me, I've been working from home since March. And so there was a lot of adjustment in my part that I had to overcome, right? I'm working at home, and there's a lot of noise happening in the house. So I had to find myself a place in my room where I will be able to concentrate with the work that I have to complete. I was able to put certain things that would motivate me and inspire me to do work. So, like, if you want to put plants near you, if you're a plantita right now, put some plants near your workstations that would inspire you or push you to do your work. You can put certain, let's say, action figures that you'd like, or Funko Pop toys in your desk to make you more productive. You can put a lamp or anything really that would help you be more productive, and it would help you motivate yourself to complete the tasks that you'd want to complete for the day. So it's really understanding who you truly are, how you work, what's the best device for you to, let's say, go through an interview. Do you need to, let's say, find a device that would help you speak better, or, like, I mean, with a better mic? Like, what's that earphone that would help you be heard better when you have certain interviews? It's really understanding your current situation, how you would adjust also to certain things in your household, but also making sure that you're going to do something about it and adjust to the certain situation. So tap into who you really are. How would you like to work? How would you like your working scenario or environment be, right? So make sure that you find that, and you'll be able to really push yourself to be more productive, and definitely you'll have that motivation in you to get your successes done. All right. So I think that's everything that I have. That's my 8 tips for you, or 8 ways to truly motivate yourself and keep productive, especially at this time. So, to end really my slides, I'd like to leave you with a quote that's really: what makes you special can inspire life's best work. So, really, at this time, at these unprecedented times, you have to understand that you have to also be kind to yourself, and really understand that you are really special, and whatever you do internally can inspire your life's best work. So make sure, guys, to keep safe. Make sure that you take into these 8 ways and also tips to be productive and motivate yourself, so that you can be successful during these times. So I think that's it from my end. So thank you so much for having me. I also want to share with you, of course, before I super end this, is the current positions that we have available right now. So we are doing virtual recruitment in Optum. So if you can see, these are the certain positions that we have available, and you can always look at our career site at workatoptum.com for our current openings. And also, you can always connect with us at our social media pages and even at Jobs 180. So don't forget to update your resume link, guys, and apply through jobs180.com/Optum. So thank you so much, guys. I hope you learned a thing or two from me.
Thank you for that, Ms. Reese. Thank you for sharing your tips. Ma'am, I have a couple of questions here.
Mm-hmm.
2 questions lang, ma'am. So I prepared this while I'm listening to your presentation.
Okay.
Um, we shared the post a couple of days ago. So may mga nag-comment, ma'am, na what can you say to applicants who have been interviewing and they have been sending their applications but they haven't been lucky
Mm-hmm.
to get hired?
Okay.
So
So
ano
that's
po?
pretty normal. I know at that time it gets really tiring. Really, when you're applying to a lot of companies already and still no luck that you are getting hired. But really, my advice for you is to keep on going. Don't stop. That should not demotivate you to look for a job, because right now, really, this is the best time for you to be motivated and productive into looking for a job. Um, I know that, again, it's very overwhelming when you hear certain news. But as a fresh graduate, you have so much to learn and so much to give to a company. So, like I mentioned earlier in my talk, it's really finding that right company with your which is aligned to your culture and values as well, because that's the company where you want to be part of, because that's the company that you are going to develop and even grow as a better individual. So don't lose hope. Please do not, never, never, never lose hope. It really just takes time. Some people, it takes them like in a week, they'll find the job na. Some people, it takes them 6 months. We all differ in our journeys in looking for a job. And that's okay. That's what you really want to understand, that it's okay if it takes time. Just never lose hope and still have that drive to find the perfect job or company for you.
Okay. See guys, so kahit mahaba na yan, kahit matagal na yan, go lang na yun, go. Okay? So
Yes.
ma'am, I have another question here, a little bit more personal. Ma'am,
Okay.
if when you're feeling down or defeated or rejected, what is your favorite, like, a pick me up? Or what's your favorite go-to thing that will make you distress or make you happier, more motivated maybe? Can you
Okay.
share this to our viewers?
Of course, no problem. Like my tips a while ago, for me, when I'm really feeling like the world's on my shoulders already, I really take a break. It's very important because you need that time to recharge yourself, kind of clear your mind. Because if you don't take a break, you're just going to be angry throughout the day, and all your emotions are just going to overwhelm you, and you won't get anything done. So it's mainly taking a break, trying to recharge, so that you can also clear your mind. You can do certain things that you want. There are different ways that on how you can clear your mind. Some people take a nap. Some people play video games to let their feelings out and everything.
I
Some
do
people
online
there's some people do online shopping, but for a free version of taking a break, you can just let's say read a book. You can pray even if you'd want. But that's really mainly important, is taking a break, because you don't want to be consumed with your emotions. So again, personally, for me, I play my online game sometimes. Like I was like, okay, I just need to stop. I'll take a break. I'll play my online game and then go again. So you have to understand also your limits, because that would also help you understand on where how you can really achieve your goals, and also being at the right mindset.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Miss Reese.
Of
Thank
course.
you for sharing your tips. And for those people who are still with us, so thank you guys for being here. And I hope you learned something new from Miss Reese. If you are interested to check out Optum's vacancies, you can go to jobs180.com/Optum and check their vacancies. Please keep your applications coming. Please send in your resumes kasi I know mabilis sila mag-process ng applications ngayon. So please, 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 mag-send kayo ng applications. Thank you, Miss Reese. So thank you for being here with us today. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shari.
Guys, thank you po.
Thank you, everyone.
Uh,
Bye.
Bye, ma'am. So thank you. Tapos na tayo sa ating topics for this afternoon. Again, you can check Ernst and Young and Optum on the Jobs 180 website. And if you have questions, please feel free to send us a message on our Facebook page. So magkakaroon kami ng bagong webinar. So it will be on September 9. Ang theme naman natin doon ay digital wellness or digital well-being. So para to sa lahat ng stressed at nasa-stress na sa work or sa school or sa bahay, sa boyfriend, sa gobyerno. So yun, i-discuss natin sa September 9. So marami pong salamat ulit sa mga schools na nakapag-participate sa atin today, sa mga students na nandito pa po, Holy Angel University, SLU, UM Manila, St. Paul University, MSEUF, Dalubasaan ng Lungsod ng San Pablo, Crystal E-College. Marami pong salamat for being here with us. And again, we hope that you can join us again on September 9. Okay? So please keep us, we will keep you updated on Facebook. So thank you guys and have a great afternoon. Keep safe. Kita-kits sa September 9. Bye!